The Bernese mountain dog weighed 108 pounds. The baby weighed 7 pounds, 4 ounces. This was, Sophie Braun thought, the entire story. When her mother-in-law asked how the dog and the baby were getting along, Sophie said, "He's very careful with her. He approaches her the way a bear approaches fine china, very slowly, very aware of his own dimensions." Her mother-in-law laughed. Sophie was not entirely joking. His name was Ernst. He was 3 years old. He had been raised in this house and had a thorough understanding of its geography, its routines, and his position in both, which was beside the family at an appropriate distance, with the watchful attention of a dog who has decided that his job is to know where everyone is. The baby monitor had been on the kitchen counter. Sophie had placed it there because the kitchen counter was the surface she checked most frequently. Coffee, phone, keys, monitor in approximately that order of importance during the newborn weeks. The counter was at counter height. Ernst was at ear height when standing. The monitor was at his nose height. On a Wednesday morning in the 6th week, Sophie came to the kitchen and found Ernst sitting in front of the counter, nose pressed to the monitor screen, making a sound she had never heard from him. Not a bark. A sustained exhalation that she would later describe as somewhere between a sigh and a growl. Too purposeful to be random. Too quiet to be alarmed. He was pressed against the monitor screen with his enormous nose, and the screen was showing the nursery camera feed, and Sophie looked at the screen. The baby's chest was not moving in the expected rhythm. If you stay for stories about what animals sense before we do, you're in the right place. Subscribe so you don't miss the next one. She was in the nursery in 12 seconds, which she knew because she counted later, because counting is what she did when she was frightened and needed her hands to stay steady. She lifted the baby. The baby startled, which was a good sign, which meant the baby was responsive, and her breathing resumed its normal pattern within 2 breaths. The pediatrician's assessment was brief, periodic breathing, a normal variant in newborns in which respirations pause for up to 15 seconds before resuming. Not pathological at this duration, not dangerous if brief, something to monitor. The something to monitor was the phrase Sophie kept returning to. The baby monitor had not alarmed. It was not a monitor with apnea detection. It was a visual monitor, image only, no audio threshold that would have caught a breathing pause, no alarm function tied to respiratory pattern. It was showing the nursery in real time, and it had not done anything, because it was not designed to do anything. Ernst had done something. The veterinary behaviorist, Sophie, spoke with 3 weeks later. She had called the practice not out of concern about Ernst, but out of scientific curiosity, which was a distinction she felt was important. Explained canine audio processing with the specific enthusiasm of someone who finds the topic genuinely remarkable. She said, "Dogs hear at frequencies and amplitudes well outside human range." She said, "The cessation of sound is as detectable to a dog as the presence of sound." She said, "A baby's breathing produces a specific pattern of sound, rhythm, volume, frequency, that a dog in close proximity will habituate to and notice when it changes." She said, "The absence of the expected rhythm is an alarm." She said, "He heard the monitor feed and responded to the change in sound pattern." Has your dog or pet ever done something that made no sense until it was the only thing that made sense? Tell us in the comments. These stories deserve to be heard. The visual monitor was replaced with a unit that included audio monitoring and an apnea alert function that triggered on pauses exceeding 15 seconds. Sophie placed it on the counter. Ernst resumed his position beside it. He does not press his nose to the screen anymore. The alarm function handles what his monitoring had been doing. Sophie is not entirely sure this is an improvement. She trusts the alarm function, and she also trusts Ernst. And there is a particular quality to what Ernst provides that the alarm function does not replicate, which is the sense of a second system that knows what it's doing. Every guardian deserves to be recognized, even the ones who never asked for anything in return. If stories like this matter to you, subscribe so you never miss the next one. The baby is 4 months old now. She has, at this age, discovered Ernst, by which Sophie means she has noticed that there is an enormous warm creature who is very often beside her, and she has decided that this creature is worthy of her attention. She reaches toward him with the specific reaching of a 4-month-old, which is not yet coordinated but is very determined. Ernst holds still for this. He is 108 pounds of deliberate stillness for a 4-month-old's reaching hand. He is aware of his own dimensions. He has always been aware of his own dimensions. Tomorrow, a dog who began herding a toddler away from one specific corner of the property, and what the structural engineer found in that corner.